大家好，我是 Olive Branch Allen. So you might have heard this term mindfulness being mentioned to you a couple thousand times a day. And you're probably wondering what that means. How is that useful to you? What's the difference between mindfulness and meditation? Well, we're going to talk about that in this video. Let's start with the definition of the word mindfulness. In its very simplest term, for everyone to really get a good understanding and for it to be useful, our definition is simply to be aware of one's thoughts or feelings without being carried away by them. So before we begin, we need to really have a good understanding of this concept of the inner dialogue. It actually has lots of different types of names. So in a lot of ancient wisdom, there's also the narrative, the monkey mind, or just the voice in your head. This is a very important concept for us to understand as we talk about mindfulness, because in everyday life, we have lots of conversations that we have with ourselves in your head. These conversations can be positive, it can be negative, or it could be neutral. But we have a lot of these conversations, and it happens almost all the time while you're awake. And it's very important to sieve out the ones that are productive and the ones that are not so productive. And that's exactly what mindfulness is about, because the not so positive thoughts that are in your head, they can actually carry your attention down this black hole, and it can take you down this rabbit hole that can last for minutes, even longer. And it can be very dangerous because then you're completely lost in your thoughts, and it could be a very negative experience, causing you to have a lot of stress. So some common narratives could be something as easily as when you're in the shower and you're just taking a shower and you have all these different thoughts and ideas that come to your mind, what you'll be doing later in the evening, what you'll be doing the next day. That's all part of your monkey mind, or the thoughts that are just rummaging through your head. And they could be very neutral. You're just thinking about what's coming up. Or you could be reflecting on how that meeting went with your client or with your boss. And maybe it's positive, maybe it's not so positive. And then you'll be thinking what you should have been saying. It's like, oh, I should have been saying this to my boss or this to the client to help persuade them in a certain way. And it's like, oh, shoot, I missed that. I missed that opportunity. And then that just keeps on going down and further down. And that could be very stressful for you, because you'll know if you start to get these feelings in your body, some warmth, maybe your ears starts to warm up, your heart rate starts to pick up, maybe you even start to sweat. So these are all signs that your body is actually manifesting itself, its physical form, from your thoughts. Your thoughts actually now are becoming reality because your body is reacting to whatever it is that you're thinking. Versus if you have some nice thoughts, maybe you're looking forward to a holiday, a vacation in Sanya on the beach. This calming thought, imagination, will make you feel more relaxed, and your heart rate will slow down, and you won't feel stressed at all. You'll actually feel very light and floaty like. A more serious case of a negative narration in your head could something be like in an example when a family member is sick. Maybe one of your parents has cancer, and you can't help but think about all the possibilities of what led him or her to cancer. It could be something that he or she have eaten, maybe their lifestyle, they didn't exercise as much as they should have, or maybe something you could have done to help prevent it. Maybe you could have been there for them more, or maybe you could be helping them out a lot more in the house or at home or in the workplace. And these ideas, these different possibilities, you just keep cycling through, imagining all the different possibilities and permutations. It goes on and on, days on days, and even months. Can be a lot of burden and a lot of weight on you. And all these different these instances of thoughts that go through your mind, it actually has a large physiological impact. So thoughts becoming biology. In other words, when you're thinking about a certain thought, how it actually will manifest itself in a physical form in your body. So when you're having a negative thought, it can affect your heart rate, which will increase. Your heart rate will increase. Your breathing rate will constrain. Your breathing won't be as good. Your muscles will contract. You might tense up, and your chest might tighten. At the same time, you'll be producing more cortisol in your blood. This is the hormone that causes inflammation, and it causes a lot of catabolism, which is a lot of breakdown of certain tissues in the body. You'll also be producing adrenaline, which is what makes you energetic. You feel like you can't sleep, you're more alert, but that alertness is not really focused, it's not channeled. So all these are physical manifestations of having these constant negative thoughts. And this is basically what stress induces. This is stress. So this is why thoughts are a very important thing you want to look into, because these thoughts that you have can become the words that you speak out to other people. And those words will eventually be backed up by actions. You'll be doing things based on what you're saying. And then all those actions, when you do it, a lot of them in a row, become habits. And habits eventually will form your identity or your character. So those thoughts have a direct line to your character if they are left unmanaged and if you're not really paying attention to your thoughts. And this is where mindfulness comes in. So this brings us back to the definition of mindfulness: to be aware of your thoughts and feelings, but not be carried away by them. So a good analogy for you to understand this is, imagine that your thoughts and feelings is a river, okay? And everything in the river, like the leaves that have fallen onto it, the fish and the other living animals that are in the river, and they're just going down this stream. And if you're not a mindful person, you will actually be caught in the river, and all those thoughts and feelings are carrying you down the river. It's taking you, and you have no control where it's taking you. You're just going with it. You're just so wrapped up in your feelings and your thoughts that you just keep thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. And that's where all the bad stuff in your body happens. If you're mindful, then instead of being trapped in the river, you're actually out of the river. You're on the bank, you're on the side, and you're actually sitting and you're observing the river as it flows down. You're observing all the leaves and the animals streaming past you. Those are your thoughts and feelings. You can't stop the river. You can't stop your thoughts and feelings. That's only human. You'll always have them, and there'll be a lot of them. But what you can do is that you can still be away from it. You don't have to be in it. You can observe it as it goes down. And that's the key difference. You are not your thoughts. You can be separate from them. And then you can decide how to act in the best way for you. So if you're new to mindfulness, what can you do? One tip, or the first exercise you can do, is journaling or writing in a diary. This is basically just writing down everything that you're thinking or feeling. And this is important for two reasons. One is that monkey mind, all those thoughts and feelings, it's also called the monkey mind, can be trapped. And you trap it by writing it down. That monkey now gets trapped on paper. Two, the next important thing is that it allows you to make sense out of all that stuff that's going on in your head, because a lot of times it doesn't make sense. So by writing it down, it forces you to make sense out of it, because you have to write in sentences that have to make somewhat sense. And it forces you to filter some of the thoughts that actually make no sense and actually that you don't even believe in that's true. And so this action of writing it down helps you to make sense out of it and to filter it out. And lastly, it's actually quite of a therapeutic experience when you're writing all this down. You're letting it go. You're getting it out of you. The second exercise to help you with mindfulness is exercise. So you can do any kinds of exercise. Jogging is a good one for a lot of people who enjoy jogging to clear their heads, they'll always say. Or you can even do something like weight training. Because when you're in the middle of a very tough set, 1 rep or 2 reps can feel like a very long time. In that rep, you have, again, lots and lots of thoughts and feelings that's going through your head. You're like, can I do this? I can't do it. I'm too weak. I didn't get enough sleep. I ate too much junk food. That actually happens within a second. And so what exercise does is that it forces you to deal with your thoughts. You're almost engaged in a battle with your thoughts time and time again. And so by doing that, you're getting more and more used to your thoughts. You're forced to be aware of your thoughts. Another technique that you may have heard about is meditation. And I did mention it in the very beginning of the introduction, but we actually think it's an advanced technique. And the reason why is because it's so abstract. Now, even though it's supposedly simple, a lot of people get very frustrated doing meditation and they end up quitting quite early. So we're going to save that for another video where we're going to go a little deeper into meditation and why it's really helpful for mindfulness. But for now, we're just going to keep that as an advanced technique. So there are 2 books I actually recommend if you guys are interested in the topic and want to learn more that I think are very good. The first one is called Buddhism Without Beliefs, and that's by Stephen Batchelor. The second book is called Awareness, and that's by Anthony DeMello. Both books are quite short and easy to read, so I do highly recommend them to you if you want to learn more. So that's it, guys. To recap, I just want you guys to remember that you should always try to be more aware of your thoughts and feelings, in other words, to be more mindful. And you can start on this journey by practicing journaling and just exercising. And it is a journey because this is a lifelong endeavor. Not only will this improve your health, but it'll make you a better person. So that's it for now. Please leave me any questions or comments below, and I'll see you next time.